What is up, guys? So I still have these builds available. I'm going to go ahead and list them on my website, timelesstshirts.com. I'll leave a link down in the description. These are going to be on a first come, first serve basis, and they're really good deals. So, good luck to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and price the Pepsi GMT at $3.75. It's a really good deal. And I'm going to post the SPB 383 at $400. That's also a really good deal. The reason for the slight price difference is mainly comes down to strap option. The Pepsi GMT comes on a NATO strap from Blue Shark, so not a cheap NATO strap at all. It's a good quality one, but it's only about $30. And the SPB 383 is on a slightly more expensive strap. This is like a $55 strap. It's a fitted FKM rubber from Mon Straps. So very nice strap, and the fitting up against the case is really cleanly done. So it's a bit more expensive for the strap, and then also this build has a color match date wheel, so that's slightly more expensive as well. So little things like that, that's why the price is slightly higher. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the specs real quick. The Pepsi GMT has the previous generation MM200 dial. I'm a big fan of these previous generation dials. It's got a lovely sunburst effect to it. Not only that, but well, actually I like it so much I actually made myself one. I'll go ahead and pop in a shot here. So this one's in my personal collection. So big fan of this design. Kind of dubbed it the ultimate Pepsi GMT. And I only built two of them. And like I said, I kept one for myself because I like it that much. So like I mentioned, previous generation MM200 dial. If you look closely at that indices, you can actually see that these are deep filled. And you can actually see some undulation to that loom. And, it's just a nice little touch that I noticed about these older generation dials. This is the way that they did them on the previous generation MM300 as well. And I know fans of that generation of Seiko really appreciated those deep filled indices. And I'm a big fan of that as well. Not only that, but I'll go ahead and pop in a loom shot of these two side by side. You can see here that the previous generation MM200 dial is an absolute torch. I mean, the thing is a flashlight even compared to the newer generation MM200. So, Seiko loom is some of the best, but when we're talking loom, the previous generation MM200 is always gonna be the winner. So, that's just something that I wanted to point out about these previous generation MM200 dials. I know a lot of people gravitate towards the newer ones, but like I said, there's a lot to love about these. And the loom is being better as one of them, but also the fact that it's deep filled. I'll go ahead and put a side by side shot in here. So if you look at the loom on the newer MM200s, you can just kind of see that that's printed onto those indices. And if you look at the older generation, you can see it's actually filled in. So if you look at that 12 o'clock marker, that's actually two separate sides, where this is one indice and then it's just printed on top of that, but in two different spots. I don't know if you guys can really, see that on camera or not, but if when you have them in hand, you can see it. So just a subtle difference that I noticed, and it's another reason why I appreciate that older style. Newer is not always better. I like the look of both of them. I will say the newer MM200 dial is a little more sharper and just a little more cleanly printed. So I get why Seiko's doing that, because they can have more control over the loom. But like I said, there's a there's a sense of almost handmade feeling when you see a little bit of imperfection on those indices. So that's the loom. Like I said, previous generation MM200 dial, OEM Patty Turtle handset. It has a GMT hand from Toki Lab, so it matches that Patty Turtle handset very well. There's red text as well on the dial, so it ties into that red and blue theme really nicely. The GMT chapter ring is from Namoki Mods, and it matches that dial perfectly. We have a double dome sapphire crystal from Namoki's as well, with blue anti-reflective coating on the underside. I chose blue instead of clear because I feel like the blue just adds another layer to the design, and it kind of ties the crystal into that Pepsi theme. It is double domed, so I paired it with a sloping ceramic bezel insert. You can see that transitions very nice and smooth. So bezel insert is ceramic, and it's from Namoki's as well. The bezel is coin edge, and it is from Namoki's as well, and it's also bi-directional, so you'll have no trouble tracking a third time zone, and that's definitely the way that a GMT bezel should be. This one's friction fit and doesn't have clicks, but a lot of GMTs are done that way. It has a case from DLW watches. In fact, both of these have the same exact case from DLW. I'm a big fan of this case. You can see that deep grain brushing on those lug hoods and those really sharp transitions between brushed and polished surfaces. I mean, this case is a stunner, and it's probably one of my favorites. Another reason I like this case is because of the 22mm lug spacing. That means that this case will work with any strap for an SKX. So any bracelet, any strap for the SKX will work on this case, and that goes for both of these watches because they have the same case. So you got pretty, unlimited strap options for both of these. So if you don't like the strap, you can go ahead and change it. And like I said, you have tons of options available. So that's that build. Let's go ahead and talk about the SPB 383 homage. So if you watch my video of the Glacier Blue dial I mentioned in that video that there's a few things that I like better about the mod compared to the actual Seiko GMT, and that goes for this one as well. So one thing that I designed with this watch is a black GMT hand opposed to a gold one. I wanted the GMT function to be more of a stealthy feature. So this is primarily a diver, has very good bezel action. Go ahead and sample that for you real quick. So very good bezel action. Everything lines up great. And like I mentioned, if you're a guy who primarily wears divers, but you need a GMT from time to time, this is definitely the watch for you. Like I said, that GMT hand kind of disappears in the background. So it's not obtrusive. It's definitely not going to be there if you're not looking for it, but it's there when you need it. So, like I said, if you're one of those guys who wants a GMT because you need it from time to time, but you don't always want to be looking at a GMT hand, this is definitely the watch for you. Like I said, it's always there when you need it, but it's not there when you don't want it, if that makes sense. That's why I went with a stealthy look. Also, I like the date window placement on this build better. As I mentioned in my other video, the SPB 383, I'll pop in a side shot actually here. If you look at the SPB 383, the date window is between the 4 and 5 o'clock marker, and it's kind of crooked, and I just kind of don't like that. So I like it better here at the 3 o'clock position. I think it's more clean and aesthetically pleasing. So little details like that I like about the build better than the actual GMT. And did I mention that the actual SPB 383 retails for $1,500? You can get this GMT for $400. Crazy good deal. SPB 185 dial and handset. So you're going to get that handset with the polished and the brushed side and that bevel down the center. I went with a GMT chapter ring that has no minute marks on it. I just think it's a more clean look. I'll go ahead and compare it to this one. You can see the previous generation MM200 dial didn't have minute marks on the dial, so I wanted minute marks on the GMT chapter ring. But on this one, I wanted a chapter ring that did not have minute markers on it, just because I thought it would look too busy and it would kind of clutter up the dial. So I went with a more clean looking GMT chapter ring. Just one of those things that, I think about when I'm building a watch and kind of, trying to design it. We have a domed sapphire crystal. This one's from Crystal Times. It's a CT 119, and it's got clear anti-reflective coating on there on the underside. The bezel inserts from Tokyo Lab. So is the GMT hand as well. This is an actual SPB 383 designed bezel insert, so it matches the SPB 383 almost identically. We have a LX style bezel, plenty of grip on that bezel. It is, a very easy to get a hold of bezel, so plenty of traction on there, and it looks, almost jewelry like in the lighting, so it kind of plays with the light very nicely. As I mentioned, MM200 case from DLW Watches with that beautiful transitions in the case and that nice beveled underside. Nice short lug to lug. Like I mentioned, 22 millimeter lug spacing, so you have plenty of bracelet and strap options. And the crowns on both of these are unsigned. I could get signed ones, but sometimes I like a more clean look. I think people overhype a signed crown. It doesn't take any more work to sign a crown, and they're the same price. So I went with a more clean look. Um, so if you like a signed crown, you can always put one on here, but you know, sometimes I like one, sometimes I don't. Anyway, that's my little thing about crowns. So that's both the builds. Good luck to anybody who wants to buy one of these. They'll probably go pretty quickly. Thank you guys for watching as always. And I hope whoever gets these watches enjoys them. They're really nice watches, and I put a lot of, thought and time into them. So hope you guys enjoy them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.